Well, first of all, I've learned over the course of my long military career not to bet against markets. They tend to be pretty accurate. But I'll give you two reasons. One is event fatigue. It just feels like one crisis after another, from North Korea to Iran to Hong Kong protests. I think there's a fatigue factor that has worked into it. And secondly, it's August. People aren't paying as much attention, frankly. I suspect a lot of this is being set aside in a mental box that says, well, let's see what it looks like after Labor Day. But I'll tell you, there has been a pretty rich history of August surprises, and I could see a big event in the Strait of Hormuz or a big crackdown in China. I think those are both, unfortunately, possibilities that are looming at the moment.
Reva, the Admiral brings up a great point here. There is limited liquidity in trading action right now because of the amount of participation. However, if something were to happen in August, it could be much more pronounced. So what are you advising clients? Where is the hot spot that people most need to focus on from a market's perspective?
Yeah, remember those days when August was actually a sleepy month, except now you have an Italian political crisis on display, Brexit concerns that are ratcheting up, the Hormuz threat in the Persian Gulf remains very serious. So really the most urgent threats we're looking at is still the Iranian situation is very serious here. This is where we see this growing deterrence dilemma for the United States. Really, the tactics are overtaking any semblance of a strategy now, where the White House has to keep relying on sanctions, but then the sanctions are the driver behind Iranian aggression, and you don't have a good way of mitigating against that. So when you're looking at scenarios of a limited strike, that is still a serious one to look at. On the Hong Kong protests, those are still very persistent, and there's still potential for a Beijing intervention, as much as Beijing is trying to avoid that.
Is there a possibility, Admiral, a Beijing intervention? These protests have gone on for months now at this point. What is the time where the Chinese government says enough is enough, we will take action to stabilize, in their words, stabilize the region in Hong Kong?
I think there are two red lines here for China. One of them is if the protests overtly turn toward greater autonomy. I won't even use the I word, independence. That's not in the realm of possibility. But an overt drive for strengthening autonomy, that I think would be a red line. And secondly, an increase in the level of violence against elected officials, coming in and destroying Carrie Lam's office. Again, unlikely. Those are immediate red lines. You'd see the People's Army Police, who are mobilized on the borders of Hong Kong now, brought in to settle the situation. I think, however, a point that mitigates against that is the way in which Taiwan is watching these events very closely. Gotcha. China has to kind of steer between coming down hard on Hong Kong, right, but therefore alienating Taiwan. It's a difficult patch of water for China to sail through.
Reva, we've just got a few moments here. How important is North Korea to this market narrative right now? Just about 15, 20 seconds here.
That's probably going to rank still very low on the list. The Trump administration is determined to cast North Korea as a diplomatic victory despite any progress on denuclearization. We will see continued testing. North Korea will push the envelope, and we're looking for medium-range tests, but we'll continue to see the White House downplay it. It just has too much on its plate right now.